Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you'll get all 12 cores from Mrs. Burcham, and you'll lay them all here on your organizer. And you'll notice I only have 2 sets here, just as an example. But the first thing you're going to need to do is to trim all of the potato cores to the proper length, making sure that you trim off any skin if there's any skin there. So you can use the ruler that's here right on the organizer, trim off the tip, line it up, and then trim the length. And do that again so that I have 2 cores that are exactly 4 centimeters in length. Now, ideally, we wouldn't have anything where it's broken. I have no broken pieces. Okay, and I'll place these back over here. Now, the next thing I need to do is I'm going to need to mass these cores. And it's really important that I record the masses and I have the proper masses for which ones are going to go into which solutions later on. So I'm going to move this out of the way for just a moment and bring over the scale, which we'll all be sharing. And it's the digital scale. And what will be on there is one of these weigh boats. And you're going to be using the weigh boat to mass and put your potato cores inside of it. And notice that the screen right now is giving me the mass of the weigh boat, which I do not want to include in my mass. So I'm going to come down here and retouch this on re-0, and that will tear or set my balance to be at 0. Okay, I'm going to bring my 2 of my potato cores over that were my first ones out of the 0 molarity, and I'm going to lay those in there. And I see that they have a mass of 2.243 grams, and I will record that in the proper place on my data table. I'll take those out, place them back onto the organizer in the right spot, grab the next 2, and put them in there. And I notice that they don't weigh the same, not pretty close, but not quite the exact same, 2.30 grams. I'll record that in my data table for the 0.2 molar solution potato cores. I'll continue doing that. Notice that if the balance kind of gets a little out of whack along the way, no big deal. All you have to do is hit the 0 again and re-tear it. Sometimes it just takes a moment to be patient. It's a really sensitive scale, and so sometimes it'll get off by 100th. No big deal. Don't worry about it. Okay, so the next part, I'm going to turn this off and move this out of the way for a moment. The next part of it will be getting the potato cores into the correct container. So you'll notice that each one of your containers is labeled with the solution that you will be placing inside. And it'll be important that you put the correct cores, the ones that you masked, into the correct container. So for example, the 0.00 molar potato cores that I masked, I will place those here into that 0 molar container. Same thing for the 0.2. I'll grab those 0.2 cores and put them in there and make sure they're in the right cup. I'll continue that procedure for all the rest of the solutions. The last step is going to be to go get the actual solutions to pour into your containers. Each of the solutions is labeled and has a corresponding graduated cylinder that's also labeled. It's really important that we don't mix these up. That would be contamination. So we'll be careful that we'll use the 0 molar graduate with the 0 molar solution. And you will be adding approximately 50 milliliters. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be 48 or it could be 52, but we're not adding 100, we're not adding 20. Approximately 50 milliliters of the solution, and you will pour that in to your cup. Then you'll move over, you'll take the 0.2 molar solution and you'll fill that graduate up to 50 milliliters and you'll add that to the 0.2 cup, continuing with that procedure.